Don't tell my architect. What's up, everyone? So quick little house and life update, all right? Lots of things have been going on. Some of them have been good. Some of them have been bad. Some of them have been a little scary. Something happened with my wife. I'm gonna share that story in a second. But first, I want to share something that's actually good, and that is in my new house. You guys know I'm building a new dream house, and it's just gonna be so crazy, right? Well, one of the things that we did in the family room that I want to show you real quick because it just got installed and I am obsessed with this thing is the fireplace surround, all right? So the room that we're standing in, it's got this big giant 14-foot window right behind us. We're actually gonna have wood paneling on the walls, not old school gross wood paneling. It's sexy, perfect, grayish panels. They're gonna be so sick. Anyway, one of the things that we did is kind of a statement and a showstopper is when you walk in this room, right? We have this fireplace surround made out of limestone, all right? There are 8 panels in total. Each panel was literally 500 pounds. It is a beast. It's a fluted limestone wall. Look at that. What? Are you kidding me? Now some of you are like, what the hell are you even talking about, right? This thing is the sexiest thing I've ever seen, right? Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, so sexy. The fireplace. This thing got installed and I'm like, oh my God. It made all the frustration kind of worth it. I love this thing. It's gonna be super cool. TV's gonna be mounted up there. We're gonna be just chilling, right? Fireplace. You got big sliding doors out to the screen porch, which is currently getting stuccoed. Did you know it was getting stuccoed? Check it out, right? Oh, wow. And look at the ceiling. What? It's so crazy. Let me take you out here real quick, see if you can see. Yep. It's finally getting really cool and I'm excited. Every day something cool's happening. Let's see, let's go inside. Something else that we're doing that's pretty cool. It looks good. We're gonna paint it, but it's still pretty cool, is the stairwell. Actually, before I show you that, I'm gonna show you something else. All I'm saying is when this is done and it comes together, you're gonna be like, damn. I'm gonna be like, damn, I'm gonna be broke and have to sell it. But a few other things, right? Just really cool details. This is also the fireplace that got installed. It's this beautiful limestone fireplace, but we're covering it with a box so it doesn't get beat up. But look at these curves, right? The curved walls, oh, you can't really see it like that, but it's a curve. Curtain pockets, big windows. Kind of hard to see everything just because it's white, but they're starting to put trim and we're doing something called shiplap in the stairwell, right? Look at all this wood, right? Look at that wood. Oh my goodness, right? It's so good, it's so good. Oh my goodness. Let me show you something else. That there, right? That's my shower. It's gonna be all tiled up here. It's gonna have black iron and glass as the doors. And it's just coming together. And it's super cool. Look, this is my bedroom view. What? Right, sitting there, laying in bed, got my patio, big window, living room, pool, chilling. What? It's so good. It's just so cool, the stairwell, right? Got the big windows. It's just all the way down. Woo! And oh, you wanna see something else? Wanna see something else really cool? It's in the basement. Boom, right here. These are the doors to, not all installed, my fitness center, right? My fitness center is gonna be huge. It's about, I think it's like 1,200 square feet, but it's really big. Lots of room for lots of equipment. And in here, this is our media room, right? We've got this big, huge iron and glass window and door that goes out. We're gonna have a little patio area, and that is going to be a wine cellar. So it actually will open, there'll be lights. We're gonna have some built-in cabinets and stuff. TV will be on the wall, big sexy couch right here. Anyway, this is the house. Some stuff I'm excited about, but shh, don't tell Linda. All right, so something happened a few weeks ago. How long has it been now?
I think I started on the 21st.
The 21st? Yeah. So my wife had her appendix rupture, and how was it?
It was never been sick like that before.
No.
Which I'm lucky to be my age and have never been sick like that before, but I was really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was scary.
It was scary, yeah.
It was scary. She woke up on Wednesday morning, and she was pale, and she couldn't like go to the bathroom. Like it hurt to pee like really bad, and she's like, "Don't touch me. I'm just gonna lay here." I'm like, "No, something's wrong. Like we need to go to the emergency room." And so, yeah, I saved your life. Didn't I?
You saved my life.
Admit it.
Just what your ego needs. You saved my life.
You're my wife. That's my job. Yes, right? All right. So anyway, it was scary, right? She was in the hospital, like we went in and they just thought it was something else. And then basically what happened was they did like an ultrasound or whatever and were like, no, your appendix is like really big and it needs to come out. And so we laid there all day and, thinking, okay, no big deal. Well, come to find out that, right before they took her back, I guess, for surgery around like 8 p.m. And at that point, her temperature, her fever started to rise. And so basically this was an indicator like, uh-oh, it ruptured. And when they got in, they ended up, the doctor ended up calling me during the surgery and said, hey, it ruptured. We're cleaning it out the best we can. She's going to be on a bunch of antibiotics. And so she was in the hospital for, I guess, about like 2 days after that. But how many? 3 days? Yeah, 3 days, 2 nights. And it was hard. But the lucky thing is that, we caught it. She went to the doctor and we got it handled. So that is good. Something else that's been going really well is the white label Mpire. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing about it, but it honestly, every day, it makes me feel so good. I love getting in there and, we're having businesses launch now. I think we've had about 12 businesses actually launch. And there's nothing more inspiring to me than watching some of these guys and girls, basically start from like nothing and like have the idea and go for it and like post their updates and like it's so incredible. Like we are building millionaires in there, and a year from now, like look out world, it is so incredibly inspiring. We've got around 700 members. If you guys are interested in joining, I've got that link down below. Once I hit 1,000, I think I'm gonna shut down memberships for some period of time, probably like 6 months, just to make sure that I'm able to give the amount of service that I need to in order to get these initial like group of entrepreneurs like up, running, off the ground. Now, the truth is that you take it at your own pace, which is one of the things that I love, and there is no like set time frame you've got to do, but it's just amazing. I love like every week I'm in there for 2 hours doing a live training. I love engaging. I yesterday just met Casey. He's in the community and he lives like locally in Marietta. And yesterday after I got done my run, I'm in my coffee shop and all of a sudden I see this dude that I've seen like on the live stream and I'm like, Casey. He's like, oh my God, Aaron, it's so great to see you and finally meet. And it's just amazing. It's truly added so much like richness and texture to my life. And the guys and girls that are in there are just amazing. So if you want to join, I'm going to link to it down below. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So that's a good thing. Something that's not great. The last video that I did talking about the clearance of some of the items at Pete and Pedro. The reason why, we're doing that, I didn't really go into the explanation. I basically got off on a tangent talking about butt wipes and hand sanitizer. But once again, I'm going to link down below to the sale page of Pete and Pedro. There's also that limited time discount code to get 50% off of the items that we're going to be killing and discontinuing from Pete and Pedro. It's sad to do it, but like we talked about before, cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. You got to make sure that you don't have too much inventory. You also got to make sure you just don't have too much product sitting on the shelf that isn't moving. And because, I don't know if I mentioned it here or it was on the white label Mpire, one of our vendors, my oldest vendor that I've been working with now for the past 10 years with Pete and Pedro, basically got rid of one section of their business and they increased their average or their minimum order quantity to 10,000 units per product. So 10,000 units is like astronomically high. Now some of our products like sea salt spray and our texture powder and our putty, those move so much, like that's not a big deal. Like we order more than that, honestly, at a time. But some of these other smaller SKUs like paste or clay or, some of these other shampoos, like volume, we just don't move the volume. Pun not intended, but awesome. We don't move the volume of volume or some of these other auxiliary products to justify carrying 10,000 units because it's going to take us like 2 years to sell out. And like I said, when you invest in a lot of inventory, it's very, very challenging. You got to make sure you move it because you can't use that cash until you sell it for anything other than, well, you can't use it. It's dead inventory. It's dead cash sitting on the shelf until you sell through, which is why it's important when you're buying things like apparel, you got to really, really be careful. And I would say if you're a business, start with one product, maybe two. Don't try and do like an entire line before you kind of have tested the demand, figure out what people are interested in, and gotten feedback. That's the other thing, right? Depending on the product that you're going to be selling, feedback is critical, right? Hopefully when you launch a product, everything's awesome and it's like, boom, you crushed it and your customers can't get enough and they're buying it and buying it and buying it, right? But sometimes you gotta tweak, you gotta change. And when you listen to your customer and your feedback, their feedback, saying, hey, I don't like this, or what, like give you an example, Rebel. When we first launched Rebel, the fragrance, it was awesome, right? But the feedback was, it doesn't last long enough. And so, if one person says something, it could be like just a coincidence, or if two people, maybe it's a coincidence, but when 3 people, 4 people, 5 people say something, you've got to listen and you've got to modify and you've got to adjust, or else, it may be bad for your business or brand. And so with that, we went right back to the drawing board. We had 5,000 units that we got inventory in terms of initial inventory. We had to sell through that, but the next version, we increased it. We increased it from like 18% potency to like 22%, right? We like took it next level. And now it lasts literally for like days. And so you gotta listen. But this is just an example of you gotta understand that your customer will help direct you and direct your business, but you've gotta be smart enough to just listen to them, right? So anyway, once we got the news that we are basically going to have to kill some of these products because we literally can't order the volume, or else we're going to have product forever and it's just going to we're going to have too much money tied up in inventory that we need for advertising or to come out with new badass products like Icon, the new fragrance that we're about to launch. And so we basically had to go back to the drawing board. From that point, it was like we were starting from zero. And everything I'm teaching in the white label Mpire in terms of like, oh, this is how you source new products and manufacturers and vendors and talk about minimum order quantities. Basically, it was off to the races. There are 4 current vendors that we're testing. We basically sent them our formulas and we said, hey, make this. Like, let's see what you can do. Because, we need to be ready. And the thing you've got to be aware of is that you can't unfortunately plan for success. You can't plan for issues either. They kind of just are going to come up in your business and you've got to be smart enough and nimble enough in order to roll with it, right? But this position that my vendor took in terms of 10,000 minimum order quantity literally would be devastating for our business if we didn't basically have to get to work and figure out a new alternative or find new vendors. But that's what we're doing. We're testing different vendors. We're sourcing because, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, just when you think everything's good and you're kind of like coasting and, okay, last year we did 9 million. This year we're going to do like 10, 11, right? And then you get punched in the dick. It's like, nah, wait a second. You got to figure things out. And so even though it sucks, you've got to do it, because what is the other option? The other option is to just not and sell out and be like, okay, my business is done, right? I did hear from my vendor, because I was on a phone call with him talking to the higher ups, like, hey, you just realized that you just totally fucked our business. And they're like, sorry. Well, there was this one branch of their business that had 700 customers, and we were one of 2 that they actually brought into this other like section. Basically, they were killing all their small vendors. And so we were big enough that we got invited, to this new or the bigger, part of the company. But yeah, they cut that 698 people got basically an email, hey, sorry, we're done. We can't service you anymore. And it was like 25% of their business. But why do you do that? Well, they obviously know more than we do. They know that there's something, whether or not it's the cost of executing or operating that portion of their business, or whatever it is, or inventory, or their people, customer service. I don't know what it is, but they figured that they were going to be better off, make more money in the long run by killing it as opposed to keeping it going. And it was devastating, but not as devastating as some of these companies. And the other thing is that, if I'm being honest, like if I have to like keep extra inventory, the good news is that I operate my business very profitably, which is why you need to operate your business profitably so that if you have a situation where your minimum order quantity goes up or jumps up, unexpectedly, you've got the cash or you've got the ability to be like, oh God, this fucking sucks, but I'm able to do it. A lot of companies that operate on a very small profit margin, they wouldn't have the extra cash to put up there, right? If you were operating your business at 5% profit margin and then you're like, hey, we need you to order another extra $1 million or $500,000, you don't have the cash. What are you gonna do? You're gonna mortgage your house? You're gonna borrow more money off credit cards with the interest rates? And the other reality is that a lot of these vendors won't give you terms when you're a newer company or a smaller company. They're not going to give you 30 days. And even if they did, 30 days is not that much time. You've just got to be prepared. And so operating your business profitably is the single best piece of advice I can give you. It's not sexy because you're not growing at like 100 times, every year, like year over year growth, but it's critical. If you're not putting money in your pocket at the end of the year, you are playing, honestly, it's like Russian roulette, right? You're pulling the trigger, and at some point, something bad's gonna happen, and you're gonna get something bad, and it's gonna literally kill your business. So you just gotta make sure you're profitable. You gotta make sure that you are prepared for a situation that you don't see coming. And I know that it's impossible to do, like with COVID, right? Nobody expected that. Nobody saw that coming. But what ended up happening is a lot of business. One business that I knew that was doing like $50 million a year, right? They made the mistake of over ordering inventory because they thought that COVID was never going to stop and the demand was going to be always there. They made like fishing gear and tackle gear. Well, during COVID, everybody went out and started fishing. So their business went like this, right? And they ordered thinking, oh, we're going to need all of this inventory. They ended up filing bankruptcy. They're done, like out of business because they over-ordered and they had too much money tied up in inventory that they couldn't move and they couldn't raise cash. And so you've just got to make sure you're prepared. You've got to make sure that you are ready, and you've got to make sure you are financially smart when it comes to running your business. Because, even though it's not sexy to go and grow maybe 10%, 20% a year, but you have 20, 25% profit margin, like that to me is sexy. It's a lifestyle business. Now people are not buying businesses based on top line. They're buying it based on bottom line or profitability, which is why with Tiege Hanley, we've seen the life cycle. We started our business and we were super profitable because we weren't spending any money on marketing or advertising. It was all me. And because I was an owner, it was all like zero in terms of it was just equity that I got, and they weren't having to pay for advertising, right? Well, as we started to flatten out because I got less effective because my customers and my audience already got the memo and were buying it, right? Then we started spending a lot and we didn't have good tracking. And then it got like to where we were literally running our business at a negative for a short period of time. And we had never raised any money with that business. It never was a situation where we needed to go and raise like millions of dollars, which a lot of these companies have done. And for us, the fact that we are at, over $20 million a year and we've never raised money is impressive. We're a unicorn when it comes to that. But we also understand that we needed to turn the dial in terms of making it a more profitable business. And so that is what the focus has been on this year. And I'm pleased to report that we've been making incredible headway. And so our profit margin is going up. It's slow, it's steady, but it's in the right direction. And so, unfortunately, if you get a big enough ship or your business is big enough, sometimes if it's headed in a direction, it's hard to basically adjust course. And so you just got to be small enough and nimble enough and smart enough to read the numbers, look at the data, and make sure you're not going and falling into the trap of I'm growing and not worrying about the bottom line. Gentlemen, it is always about the bottom line.